Surely samsara was nowhere to be found. Main source Banti Ashin Kaminda. Before further review, here is that samsara is a state of suffering that all beings experience in a series of lives in various realms of life when birth, and death are repeated throughout the realms of life. Suffering in itself is possible because everything is always changing. Happiness will turn to misery and vice versa. Here is a quotation of the explanation of the great master Tathagata in Savatthi about the earth and our lives as follows. Monks, this samsara is without a beginning that can be found. The first point is invisible to wandering and wandering creatures blocked by delusions and fettered by desire. The tears you shed as you wandered on this long journey, weeping and wailing as you huddled with the unpleasant and parted from the pleasant, are but more than water in the four great oceans. Samyutta Nikaya 15.3.
Samsara, or the circle of birth and death, is without a beginning to be found. In other words, this life has been going on for a very long time. Each of us has lived in the universe for an extended period of time.
Tathagata uses a dimension of time called kappa or kalpa to explain a very long span of time, one that might be able to apply today's numerical standards to billions or even billions of years. Our life this time is not the first. We've had so many lives already. We are born again and again, born again, passed away again until this day. As long as we cannot finish our lesson, destroying the kilesa or the impurities, we will still be born again. Not only is it merely born again, but our deeds or karma will even prolong life, adding to birth and death. Hence, this samsara may be endless. If we do not fight to destroy kilesa, then life and suffering may be endless.
As practitioners of Dhamma, we should understand the nature of suffering in samsara. In one of the suttas, Tathagata asks his disciples, "Is this physical body eternal or eternal?" Then the disciples answered, "Not eternal, Bhante."
Furthermore, is anything impermanent suffering or happiness? The disciples answered, "Bhante, suffering." Thus, we understand suffering or dukkha arises because things are constantly changing, having traits arise and disappear. Tathagata does not deny happiness in life, but the happiness we experience also falls into the dukkha category, since that happiness will sooner or later pass away, where suffering ends up. If a person is happy right now and wants this happiness within himself, what will he do? He will put forth every effort to sustain that happiness. When making such efforts, suffering will result as an effect of his inner being disturbed and reeling. When you think about it, you will see how much suffering there is in this life. Time and again we've heard of the prophecy of the apocalypse. But according to Buddhism or according to the doctrine of the Dhamma, there is no apocalypse in the sense as the end of all life. As long as we're not enlightened, then life will continue to turn. The end of the world according to Buddhism is only the temporary destruction of the universe.
That destruction was the beginning of a new universe. When the universe is ready to exist again, the creature will enter and live again in the universe.
The destruction of the universe according to Buddhism, if the doctrine of the Dhamma of the Gautama Buddha were to disappear, there would be no doctrine of the Dhamma for a long time until finally the teaching of the Dhamma by the Buddha Matthiya would arise. And after a long period of time also, the teaching of Dhamma by Buddha Matthiya also disappears. After its elimination there was the destruction of the universe. The doctrine of the Dhamma that vanishes and then reappears is the same doctrine as the previous one. That Dhamma taught me something real. Teach reality. The universe evolved and then formed again. Surely the teaching of the Dhamma must vanish. We must make peace with the fact that Buddhism must pass away one day. Understanding like this is wonderful because it makes us not cling to the Buddha's teaching, which is the doctrine of the Dhamma, and will instead use the time that exists to strive to realize the four glorious truths it teaches. Again, the beginning of our lives is nowhere to be found. This reality can only be seen by those who meditate. Meanwhile, throughout our inner life we move at great speed. In the text it is said that in one click of a finger, our inner appears crushed many billions of times. That was quick.
And now scientists are also discovering the fact that our bodies in 1 second were produced, and were also destroyed at a high rate once, a fraction of a billion seconds.
They to this day could only find mental or non-material facts called the inner self. Only Buddha or the great teacher Tathagata can find it, and then teach it to his disciples. Imagine that even if a single click of the fingers of billions of consciousness arises, and then that means that in just 1 second, the karmic seed he planted in the stream of consciousness is also many billions of billions of billions. Because it can be created in such a rapidly accelerating time, while our lives are without a beginning, this is why the karmic combination has been created by every variety. This makes it easier to understand now why we are all different. Monks, Tathagata Buddha says, I see no other group of living things as diverse as those of the animal realm. Countless animal species in the world. Yet 2,600 years ago Tathagata said that the diversity of the creatures in the realm of the animals is made by their own minds. Maybe they used to be people, too, and now they're animals. Tomorrow they'll be people again because life is going around. However, the mind is even more diverse than the creatures in the animal realm. Why? Since the mind can not only shape the beast, but it can also make creatures born as humans, as gods, as Brahma, and so forth. Because it is because of this mind that every creature in the universe, in any system of systems in the world or in the firmament, in all 31 realms of life has different lives. So, what makes all this difference, once again, is karma. So this video, may it be useful, and see you again in another video on the channel, hermanuhadi on YouTube. May you be healthy and happy, I hope.